one more day to go. Went tomorrow, meadow. I remember those days, man. Primary school days, man. But yeah, Mara was watching me. I don't know what Liam Brady's thinking of me. I'm thinking, who's this nutter?
Anyway. I know what I'm thinking of you.
Behave yourself. Anyway, no doubt you could probably still got my brother with me. So it's going to be the Chuckle Brothers content here on Canon 40 TV. Getting to this one on the other side of this music intro. Yes, we are back. We are live on Canon for the TV, the channel, apparently, for Arsenal fans all over this world. Apparently. Ralph, how are you? How are you?
Still getting over what happened Tuesday night. I went round the Emirates yesterday. I did a walk around. I did a walkabout. I went to Oxford Circus, Covent Garden. I went past a rather famous Jamaica Patty place as well to pick up something for Mum and myself. And then I thought, you know what, let me just go by the Emirates. So I went by the Emirates, and I was kind of like thinking what could have been Tuesday night. And then got home. I got to Mum's, and for those who don't know, I'm in London for a few days. I'm heading back to the green grass of South Wales shortly. And then I was watching Newcastle's performance against PSG. That was just something else. And you're talking about the 12th man when we play against our RC Lens. Newcastle atmosphere was just as electric, you know what I mean? So, but they had the players to back up the score as well. So I think some big things are turning up for Newcastle.
Yeah, so you mentioned something about what happened. What happened this week, Ralph, in football? I don't know. I missed something. What happened? Did something happen, Ralph?
I saw your almost meltdown on Saka yesterday. Not yesterday.
I don't melt down. I rant. It was a rant.
Yeah, well, it was a rant and a half. It was. I think if Arteta was in the same room as you, I know that only one person will come out, and it would have been Arteta.
But Ralph, you say that, but we've spoken about Bukayo Saka and the situation. I'm actually going to be talking. Actually, you know what? Let me talk about a news segment. Actually, one news segment which involves Bukayo Saka. I'm not sure. Maybe Ralph knows this or not, but the England squad confirms Bukayo Saka decision has been made. So Arsenal Bukayo Saka is in the squad, despite limping off against Lens in the midweek in Champions League, where we lost 2-1. But England may want to assess his fitness, and he remains a doubt for Sunday's clash against Man City. But yeah, Ralph, Saka. Southgate has said that he's still being assessed as they've obviously got a big game this weekend. And then there's another 7 days before we play Australia and 10 days before we play Italy. So everybody will monitor everything as we go forward. But again, Ralph, we've spoken about Bukayo Saka, innit? About how he needs to be protected. I sound like a broken record, man.
Yeah, we've spoken at length. If you look at the amount of times that we just cover about the youngsters, protecting the youngsters. I think in one of your earlier segments in the week, I did respond saying how we was talking about this since 2017, 2018. We was saying protect the youngsters, and they will come through, and we've kind of run them into the ground. I don't like laughing about it, but that's where we are. It does seem rather judgmental from our side of the fence, because we are not privy, and I always say this: we're not privy to being in the changing rooms. We don't have the contacts that can give us the whispers, so to speak. I don't think I ever really want to do so. I want to be able to have my kind of I suppose fans goggles on, but we're trying to be as fair as possible. But we've spoken about this. We've spoken what if And if we're having that kind of conversation, and the fans in the wider fan base is having that kind of conversation as well, then it must be a conversation amongst the coaching staff and the coach and the manager. It must be, what is going to be our best 11 if one or two of our members are not out. Look at Jesus. Jesus has missed a few games last season because he was injured. Martinelli, Saliba. What would have happened if Saliba was playing right through to the end of last season? Would we have bridged that gap to winning our third Premiership within quite a few years? All these what ifs. And I always say, what if maybes don't make anything, but what you can have the conversation in doing is preparing. It's preparing to say, well, if, for example, Saka gets kicked to the point where the referee is not giving anything, I have to protect my player. Oh, so we're 3 goals up, take him off. Oh, so we've got Lons playing away, our first match away. Normally we have a good record away in the UK. This is the Champions League where anything can flip on a sixpence, But we've got a bigger match on Sunday, so let me protect my players. If we lose the match, then I'll take the heat for it because the side is again experimental. We've seen Arteta do experimental tinkering so far, and we've gotten away with it. We've just gotten away with it. Now, this is the first time when it's backfired, and it's backfired in the big way. I said to you in response, I don't think Saka's going to make Sunday. If he does make Sunday, then we'll have injected him with something, and he will say, it's okay, sir, I'm willing to play. I'm willing to play through the pain. Sometimes you can probably just get away with doing that, but the long-term effects, as we know, is that it shortens a career, especially when you're playing on the side of the wing, where you're gonna have 2 men on you, and who don't care about your well-being. They take you out because they see you as a threat, and that is the landscape it follows. We've seen players like Thierry, Wrighty, Bergkamp. When we've missed them, and this is where we are now. We are in the place where we don't really want to be, but it's early. It's early in the season still. But if you're talking about making sure that Saka is there for the long term, then it's one match against Man City. I probably feel and hear some of the Arsenal fans saying, but you know what? Let's put him in because he's our best player. If he is our best player, then what does it say about the rest of the squad?
Well, I've said what I had to say, Ralph. I no doubt you might hear me saying the same thing throughout the whole of this season. You talk about the referee. The referee can only do so much. As our asset, not to use that word, but as our player, the manager should surely see what's been happening. The compounding effect of all these injuries is going to have an end result. And that end result, God forbid it, he might end his career, But even Gareth Southgate, does he have to play in those games there against Australia and Italy? No, he doesn't. He doesn't. But anyway, I don't want to end up,
One other thing to add on to your points. One other thing as well. Emma Smith-Rowe. If you want to do comparisons, Emma Smith-Rowe had a really good season a couple of seasons ago, and then he got injured. And now he's almost like, I'm not sure what side of the fence that Arteta wants him in. I feel like he probably feels obliged that he has to play him. Now, I was screaming for Reece Nelson to play against Bournemouth, and he came on. I mean, actually, do you reckon that I kind of like tripped up my own kind of internet connection, because I was quite angry about it. But to me, it seemed obvious when we were 3 goals up. Then that's what you do. You put your other players on to protect the strong players. And if you've got a squad, you want them competing for places, but at the same time, you want to protect your main players, because they're going to go through another 30 odd matches, not including Carabao Cup, not including the FA Cup, not including how far we're going to get. I don't know how far we're going to get in the Champions League. After the way I saw the way Lons play against us, I'll be surprised if we make it through to the next stage, if I have to be totally honest. And when you look at it from another, I suppose, practical point of view, this team has not been in the Champions League. This is the first time they're in the Champions League, and it's the first time they're experiencing anything other than Rice. Rice has played in a European setting, but if you look at it, Rice and I say Saliba, but if you look at it from up and down, with the exception of Jesus and Trossard, of course, it's still a young team, and it's still unproven. They got so far last season. Now this season, the expectations are that much greater. The fans' patience will be a bit shortened because we saw how close we could have got that Holy Grail. Now we've got Europe thrown into the mix as well. So I suppose what I'm trying to say is we have to be patient, but at the same time, the manager's got to be practical, and all the ruthlessness that we've been asking him to become, I think he's directed it at the wrong end. If I have to be honest, he's directed it at the goalkeepers when really he should be putting more pressure up front. Because like I said before, to me, Eddie's not that guy. And okay, he won a penalty and everything else. But when you're looking at somebody to come in to change the landscape of the match, to be a threat, to score goals, Eddie will probably score goals at anyone lower than 6th place. Beyond 6, that's when it gets, that's when he's got to show up. And so far, for all his hard running, he is not that guy. If I bump into Eddie down the street at some point, and he says, "Hey Ralph, you called me out," I'll still say to him, "Yeah, Eddie," because I've been an Arsenal fan long enough to know when we've got the players that can actually put the ball in the back of the net, and those who try to. And Jesus ain't too far behind that fact as well.
Exactly.
If I have to be honest.
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah. For me, Jesus is not a clinical striker. He does other bits and pieces, components, but he's not a clinical striker either. But you spoke about the wrath of Mikel Arteta going in the wrong direction, more aimed at the goalkeepers. I'm talking about actually goalkeepers. Gail Clichy has come out with his thoughts about the situation for goalkeepers number one. So former Arsenal and Man City defender Gail Clichy says Ramsdale plays with his head up and can wind up the opposition fans. Those qualities are great. It shows character. But if you go over the line, then it can become an issue. I see this, Mikel Arteta picking Raya ahead of him as a way of Arteta keeping Ramsdale humble and reminding him that Arsenal still have not achieved anything. So that's quite interesting from Gail Clichy saying that. That's why has he been dropped? He's been dropped. He's been dropped. He's not the number one. But Ralph, I want to just kind of take it back a little bit. Come Sunday, do you think Bukayo Saka will be included to play Man City?
I don't want to think so, but I think he will be. I think he will be. I think Arteta has pushed himself into a bit of a corner because I'm trying to make comparisons, and maybe they're unfair comparisons. Emma Smith-Rowe got injured and he's trying to claw himself back into the team. Reece Nelson had a really good introduction. I'm trying to think which game he played against when he scored 2 goals because Saka was injured. He came on. Was it not Forest or Everton? I'm trying to think if the guys out there can remember. Last season, he came in early and he scored 2 goals. I think it was at home as well. So Saka has been the high ticket. Saka has been our golden boy. Saka has been England's golden boy as well, in a sense. Everything goes through him. And if I was a defender, I will be marking him out because that's my job. And I'll do every kind of dirty trick allowable, any kind of dark arts allowable to put him off his game. but you know, my I wouldn't kick him, but I would pull his shirt, or I'll try and hustle him off. That's the way I play. But the way that these guys are targeting Saka, they know how good he is. Now, if Saka can't make the bench on Sunday, then you have to put Reece Nelson in. To me, that's just it's a given. But why are you tinkering? Why are you thinking, well, you know what? No, let me just see if I can put somebody else in. We don't have Partey, so my camera decided to go up. We don't have Partey. We don't have. I mean, Rice seems to be carrying something as well. Everyone seems to be carrying something at the time when we need them the most. And it's not. It's game 8, isn't it? Game 9.
In the Premier League, 8.
Yeah, Premier League 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not even halfway through the season.
Anyway, I agree. I as much as I want to believe that the manager will not play Bukayo Saka, like I said on my mini rant yesterday, I imagine that he will start Bukayo Saka, irrespective of the situation, whether he's been assessed or not, and to come up with the excuse, oh, it happened because he was doing a back heel. I thought, excuse me? He picked up that injury because he was doing a back heel. I don't think so. Mikel Arteta. No, it's the compound effect.
Didn't he say he had an Achilles injury from last season?
Yeah, he did.
They're still trying to get on.
Yeah. But yet you still continue to play him, don't you? You still continue to play him. Anyway, Ralph, let's get on to something else that some people might get a little bit annoyed at, or maybe find it interesting. I don't know, man. But anyway, ex-Chelsea manager Frank Lampard has admitted that he struggled to coach new boy Kai Havertz. Now, Arsenal, since he's a transfer over from the blue side of London to the red side, £65 million have signed Kai Havertz in recent summer transfer windows. Mikel Arteta has been trying to integrate the player into his side in the midfield row. Now, whilst there have been flashes of his quality on display, Havertz has so far struggled really to produce his best form for the North London club. The 24-year-old is clearly short on confidence, I can see that, and doesn't look to have yet fully gotten his grips to his new position. Now, Frank Lampard, who coached Havertz for a time when he was with the blue side of London, has reflected on his own experiences of trying to coach the best out of the player. Now, speaking on Monday Night Football, the former Chelsea boss said, when we brought players in, I had different problems. Coaching problems, Kai Havertz, what's his best position? Now, Arteta clearly backs himself to succeed where Lampard fell in terms of unlocking Kai Havertz's full potential. But I thought, Lampard, why are you coming out of it now? Why didn't you come with it before? Is it because you're just trying to pile in on top of the massive criticism that our number 29 has been receiving? But I don't think there's any need for him to talk about that, Ralph. Really? I don't know.
Yeah, he's just piling on. He's got nothing else to do. I don't know if he's managing or if he's a pundit or whatever. You know, to me, when you've been sacked not once but twice from the same club, right? To me, that speaks volumes. You know, you was a club legend playing. You decided to come back to the club because whether Abramovich or whoever asked you to, and it didn't happen, and you came back again the second time and it didn't happen. You know what I mean? So he's, whether he's deflecting or whatever kind of like issues he may have, or ego, or hey, you know what? It's Kai Havertz's turn now to take some of the stick. To me, it's piling on. If you're a professional don't criticize another professional when he's short on confidence. You know what I mean? You've been there. You know what it's like. He didn't. If I have to look at Lampard, the amount of times when he played in England's squad with Gerrard, and we couldn't pick between the two because we didn't know who was the better of the two. And when we needed them the most, they didn't turn up. So you know, is that the kind of conversation we're going to have now? You know what I mean? To me, it's a waste of time. If you want, I can't stop him from talking. Of course, you know, none of us can.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you're a professional and if you know this player and he was struggling with confidence in that team, then why would you want to still try and do the same thing when he plays for somebody else? It does, to me, it doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense at all.
Yeah,
I find it irrelevant. I find him irrelevant.
And actually, those have been the segments that we're going to be talking about or we've spoken about on this Thursday evening show over here on Canon 40 TV. As far as I can see, there's only been one comment which is not related to anything related to Arsenal, so I won't even feature that. But what I am going to do, let's go into the platform formerly known as Twitter, is now called the X platform. Let's see if there's been any comments there or any retweets. How do we call it? Retweet? Okay, it's called X now. All right, okay.
I don't know what's this Twitter universe, man. It's still Twitter. That's crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, so there's not been anything there, anything retweeted, re-X'd. So we did a question on the platform, YouTube platform that is, and the question was, well, it wasn't a question, it was more of a statement. Arteta needs to fill the blank. And the options are, probably some of you are thinking, Arteta needs to op it. I would never say that. But the options are, Arteta needs to rest Saka on Sunday, or Arteta needs to play Saka on Sunday. And we've received 669 votes, Ralph. 10 comments and 32 likes. Okay. So again, it's more of a statement, fill it the blank. Arteta needs to, 37% say, play Saka on Sunday. What are you guys thinking? That's very, very high. Knowing what we know about his injured again, 37% of the votes say that we should still play Saka on Sunday. I find that hard to comprehend. And 63% actually have got the sense. They say no, rest Bukayo Saka on Sunday. And I'm on their side, 63%ers. All right. Right. So there's no comments, Ralph. So I think what we're actually going to do, we're probably going to end the show. That's
I think quite a few Arsenal fans are probably just thinking, you know what, I'll just take a break. Let's just regroup. I was walking around the Emirates last night, and I was just looking at some of the legends that played for this team and everything else. I was thinking, you know what would they do at this moment in time? Would they have a go with the manager, or would they say among themselves, look, you know what? Okay, that match is another learning curve. We've lost our first match away, as it were, and we've got a big match now Sunday. Who's going to stand up and be counted? I think like Frank McClintock would have said something. I know Tony Adams would have said something. I know, everyone, Pat Rice, everyone would have said, you know what, guys, we're here now. So what we're going to do, we're going to fold or we're going to stand up. And Man City, I know Man City will be coming with a force after losing against Wolves as well. Of all the teams to lose against, they lose against Wolves. So why can't we be that team that upset them even further by beating them at home? Why can't we do that? Why can't we just say, you know what? They're coming to our manor. Let's just forget about VAR, forget about the referee. This is our turf now. Let's just, every time we get a chance, have a shot on goal. Don't play all this ticky-tacky stuff because they can see it coming. Pep Guardiola knows our playbook because he gives the playbook to Arteta. You know what I mean? Yeah. So Arteta should just throw the playbook out and say, right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do something totally different, something they're not going to expect. If we play long ball, if we play low block or whatever, we do that. Frustrate them. But when the chance comes, take it. Eddie, if the chance comes, take it. Jesus, forget about your mates at halftime or at the end of the match. If the enemy, take it. Zinchenko, if they start roughing your head, then you have to kick them. And when the chance comes, take it. Because, we're at home. And that's how it should be done.
Yeah. And actually, there's just been a little flurry, a little trickle of comments. Thank goodness. So Brother Prosper says, Arteta needs to go with another formation against Man City. Or Prosper, what formation? What formation would you like Arteta to go with on Sunday? He says actually Jesus top or up top. And Anthony Roberts, good afternoon or good evening, says big up family, big up, big up, big up. Cut the fancy stuff and score those chances, like my brother says. Stop this little tiki-taki football. Just have pops, outside pops. Have a shot. Have a shot outside the penalty area. But Ralph, this is the way that Arteta wants them to play, Ralph. This is how he wants them to play.
And I said to Alex that if Arteta said to me, Ralph, you know what? When you get the ball outside the box, I want you to try and like find somebody else who can have a definite shot on goal. I would say, okay, Gaff. As soon as I get that chance, I'm gonna have a pop. I have a pop, but I have to make sure I score because if I score, then the Gaff will probably say, "Oh, you know, well done." But I know he'd be seething inside, saying that I should have passed it. But as long as I score, I've got to score. If I'm outside the box, I've got to score. Then there's no arguments because then the fans will be on your side as well. The fans will be on your side as well. So have a chance outside. If it even takes two ricochets and it goes in, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, isn't it? You know, I'm sure Jesus and especially Nketiah will be ready for the rebound or the goalkeeper to palm it out into their path. So have a shot and go, man. Anthony says must be ruthless come Sunday. Painful to watch when a team is there to be beaten. And Martinelli, Emerson for Odegaard, Nelson, or Trossard, Saka position. Yeah. So right. Okay. So he's saying for me, I would have put Fabio Vieira, and it's not because it's having the advantages of hindsight. I've seen when we played Vieira on the right-hand side last season, he didn't have a good time. Play him on the left-hand side. We know literally that Martin is out injured. Play him on the left and Reece Nelson on the right. It's as simple as that. It's too simple. The rest of the players after must be as usual. Right, so he's saying that Jesus up top and everybody else must be in situ, Ralph.
Yeah.
Dearie me. Anyway, you know what? We've come to an end on this show here. Ralph, thank you for joining me at last second notice. I said you're going back when tonight or tomorrow? And look at that, he's gone. He's frozen. Look at that, he's frozen. Typical. That's typical of my brother, man. Typical. Anyway, anywho, I will be back. Can you hear me, Ralph? Can you hear me? Look at that. Can you hear me, Ralph?
I can hear you.
Yeah. All right. So when are you going back?
Later. Literally
right.
after the stream.
Okay. Well, again, thank you for joining me at lastminute.com. I will be back tomorrow evening with a special easy talk, and we're 2 shows short of the 100 mark. 100 easy talks. 100. What was that, Ralph? I'm not sure what that was.
I don't know.
So that's going to be a 7:30 p.m. show. I've got the lads from Dial Square FC coming on the show, and of course the H-Men. That's right, the Hogans, Tim and Terry. Actually, Tim, and Terry, the original Godfather. 7:30 p.m. UK time tomorrow on the latest segment of the Easy Talk. Anyway,
don't miss it.
Don't miss it. Don't be square. What was it? If be squared, I don't know what it says now. It's like it's 80s saying, "Be there or be square." That's so 80s, man. That is so 80s. Anyway, a lot of you weren't around in the 80s. Both Ralph and I were around. We've been around for a long time. But anyway, Ralph, what are you looking at? What's happened? The light's gonna go. All right, people, we're out. This has been Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over this world.